Have you ever just felt like dating apps are kind of a rigged game? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dig into the data and see why modern dating feels so broken. I mean, if you've ever spent an entire evening just swiping and swiping, you've probably asked yourself this exact question. We have all this amazing technology at our fingertips, so why does finding a real connection feel so inefficient? And, let's be honest, completely exhausting. A huge part of that exhaustion comes down to this one number right here. According to Pew Research, a staggering 65% of us have been ghosted. You know, where the communication just vanishes. It's not some glitch in the system anymore. It's basically become a core feature of the entire experience. And that feeling, it actually has a name: burnout. A YouGov survey found that a massive 80% of users report feeling emotionally exhausted from using the apps. It's that endless cycle of swiping, getting a match, and then nothing. Just silence. It just wears you down.
And get this, even when the app actually does its one job, creating a mutual match, Hinge's own data shows that over half of those matches lead to absolutely nothing. Not a single conversation. The whole process is broken right from the very first step.
Okay, so we all know it feels broken, but now let's look at the hard numbers that prove it really is. So it all starts with what some experts are calling the message response crisis. Think about it like this. For every 3 messages you actually take the time to send, 2 of them are probably going to get no reply at all. All that effort just disappears into the void. It's the perfect recipe for just wanting to give up. You know, this design actually creates a terrible experience for everyone, just in totally different ways. For a lot of women, it's this feeling of being overwhelmed, just a flood of messages where the quality gets completely lost in the quantity. But for a lot of men, it's like facing a wall of silence, which leads to fatigue and burnout. It's really just 2 sides of the exact same broken coin. But this isn't just about inefficiency or wasting your time. There's a really deep emotional and social cost to all of this swiping. This is a massive problem. A joint study found that 70% of people using these apps log in expecting to be lied to. I mean, think about that. If your default assumption is that the other person is being dishonest, how can you ever build a real connection? So we're not just talking about a few bad apples anymore. This is a systemic failure. The thinking goes, when distrust becomes the baseline assumption, the entire ecosystem fails. It just can't work. And here is maybe the deepest irony in all of this, what's known as the loneliness paradox. The generation that uses these apps the most, young adults, is also the loneliest demographic out there. Cigna's index found 58% report consistent loneliness. The very tools that were designed to bring us together might actually be driving us further apart.
Okay, so the experience is frustrating, the emotional cost is super high. So why doesn't it fundamentally change? Well, to get that, we have to do one thing: follow the money.
And it's not just an emotional cost either. The financial cost is devastating. In 2023 alone, the FTC reported that people lost over $1.14 billion to romance scams that started on these apps. This isn't just some small side effect. It's a massive industry that is thriving on our broken trust. And yet, in that same year, people willingly spent over $8 billion on these exact same apps for things like subscriptions and boosts. So on one hand, people are being exploited, but on the other, the platforms are making an absolute fortune. What is going on here? Well, it really all comes down to broken incentives. Let's just walk through the logic here. First, for a platform to make money, it needs you to stay on the app. It needs your engagement. Second, what does success look like for you, the user? It's finding a match and deleting the app, right? You see the conflict? Your success literally ends their engagement. So that leads to the real problem. It is way more profitable for them if you keep searching, not if you actually succeed. The result is pretty clear. Your outcomes stay flat while their revenue just goes up and up. And you don't have to take my word for it. This comes directly from Match Group's own financial reports. Over the last decade, the average amount of money they make per user jumped by up to 40%. And the rate at which people actually found relationships? It stayed completely flat. The conclusion here is pretty inescapable. They got much better at making money, not at making matches. So, if the current model seems so fundamentally misaligned with what we actually want, what's the alternative? Could there be a whole new design for dating? I mean, just imagine for a second. What if the model was totally different? What if a platform was built from the ground up for connection? We're talking about one with verified identities to get rid of all the fakes, financial incentives that actually reward success, and maybe most importantly, a place where trust and safety aren't just an afterthought, but the main feature. This really leaves us with one crucial question to think about. Should these powerful platforms be optimized for profit or for genuine human connection? Because as it stands right now, the data seems to suggest they simply can't do both.